Hello, welcome to another day in the garden. It's very early September, so I thought we'd take a little look around at what the garden beds are doing for me now. It has a feel of season coming to an end. We'll start down at the bottom down. So, Zone 5B, garden in Newfoundland. I have 11 no-dig raised beds. I have one in-ground bed over on part of the property and another in-grown bed on the other. We're going to see it all today. This empty bed here, sad to see, I've just pulled my onions. So that bed's going to go to rest now. It's too late in the season for me to do anything else. This bed's been a bit of a mess and a bit of a pleasant surprise. It's a good example of don't give up, just keep going and start with no matter what you have. This is a new bed this year. It had nothing in it but grass. Threw some cardboard on it, whatever resources I could find for soil, which was very little. So there's a bit of manure composted that I had from the season before, and then the free leaf mulch we get from our local leaf depot. That's about all that went in this bed. So for me, in my mind, it was okay. It was kind of good luck to whatever plants went in. So what I chose for this bed was peppers, which don't generally do too well for me anyways. I'm never going to have bragging rights on peppers or tomatoes outdoors in Newfoundland. So I lost a lot of the peppers due to cold. That was sort of expected. Many survived, and actually I've been getting a lot of jalapenos specifically, and my hot banana peppers. Lots and loads. So I've been able to preserve some of that, and we've certainly been eating it in many, many meals. But what I mean by don't give up, I stuck an extra squash plant or two in here. I stuck these tomato. This is a spoon tomato plant that I didn't want to waste space for, but yet, whoa, I had space here, so I threw it in here. It's a crazy monster, but it doesn't matter. It's going to start, it's covered in flowers. That'll be an all-day picking for me when it comes, but I'm enjoying it. Due to the manure and the leaf mulch, somehow this is the best zucchini plant I have, and actually I'll probably insert a picture of a honker zucchini I just found 2 days ago in here that got away from me. It has produced so much for me. With that zucchini, by the way, it was so large, basically, you know, no longer edible, but I made a gorgeous melted zucchini pasta sauce out of it. It was beautiful. And another squash, a celebration squash, winter squash, is just doing really well. Now, when the peppers died, I came out and threw seeds. Thought, don't give up, don't give up. I threw turnip, I threw carrots, I threw onion seeds, and they're all coming up and have all been producing. The turnip I pretty much picked. Carrots are succession plant, that's wonderful, and onion plants are all there. I even have a cherry tomato plant I must have put there, which is in full bloom. So don't be discouraged. If you don't have enough resources, if you don't have, just go ahead and do it. The grass that's underneath here is filled in here because this is a first year bed. So after this year, I will probably lay more cardboard, more composted manure, and let it rest over the winter. But for now, it's producing. It's a mess, but it's really producing for me. Next bed, my usual. I interplant heavily. So here there's about 7 celery plants. There are beans. I have borlotti. I have the red swan. I have the Jack Be Little squash. I put peas in here for some reason. A globe artichoke, peas, purple peas to be potted, and I also have my they're almost ended, but my some broad beans here. Again, looks a mess, really producing. Celery's just coming into its own now. Oh, I even see a pak choi here, a bit eaten. And of course I see nettle, which inevitably gets everywhere. I also have a stream of leeks, carrots and leeks. I really interplant in all my beds, and that's to avoid those pests, you know, your allium leaf, your carrot fly, and I don't get those, knock on wood. The bean bed is the next one. We've done, from these 2 to 3 rows in the middle is green beans, the wax beans stringless, green, yellow, and the red swan. We've been heavily eating from these, and I think we're a little tired of them, so for now this bed is probably just going to let all these, the rest, which are now grown for the pod, and we're just going to leave those. I won't be doing anything more. I'll come out when the season's sort of ended. Every now and then I come out and clean up leaves. I just pick and throw, because that's what encourages slugs and sow bugs. We're going to leave this so I don't have to worry about this bed anymore. This is my tomato bed. As I said, I'm never going to win any awards for my tomatoes. Outdoor tomatoes have a tougher skin, but I do not have a greenhouse, so I enjoy everything that does come out of this. At the very far end, just for the sheer beauty of it, I planted the scarlet runner beans, just because it's so pretty. And now I'm actually getting, I don't always, but I'm getting loads of the pods, which I will let also go to seed in their pod and collect those for winter eating. This craziness here fell over. I just left it and pick. It's a little hard to pick, but I reach in, grab all my purple peas. Still using them, they're still producing. In fact, there's a whole new flush of flowers on those, and I'm quite excited about that because I could use a few more. So I've got 2 of those. I had surprisingly thought that my broccolini would be pulled by now, and it's still producing, so win-win on this one. And I'm going to tell you why I really enjoyed these this year. Broccoli for me is the most preferred food, definitely, of the field mice here. So by the time I grow them indoors, bring the seedlings out and plant, it's perfect timing for the wee mice, and they devour. So what worked for the broccolini this year? First of all, I went with broccolini, not broccoli, to see if I could produce more and get them to work, and they are. I'm going to do a harvest today of those, actually. But what I did with them is winter sow them. That means that in February, March, snow's still on the ground here, I put them in a plastic lettuce container sort of thing, those big, any container will work, that allows light through. Watered it, set it in the snow, and the seedlings came up when they felt like it, when they wanted to. Well in advance, did far better than the ones I had in the house, even. And were acclimated to the climate here. So as soon as the snow melted and the ground could be worked, I stuck them in. There were no mice at that point, there were no snails at that point, and there were no sow bugs. And they were able to go on and produce, so that's a win-win for me. I'm certainly going to do that again. And experiment a lot more with that, I think, the coming season. This bed also has succession plants of carrots, celery. I don't know how many celery, maybe 4. My globe artichoke, here's one that's pretty much almost ripe for the picking. I have kale, I have a kohlrabi. I have 2 squash plants that are just starting to get the females, a little late on those. I have a Brussels sprout. It's doing really well. I can already see the sprouts. Another squash plant. It has a squash that's set. One of the most exciting things for me every year is to see if I can get some squash. Sometimes it's only, if I'm lucky, one from each plant, and that's if I'm lucky. Our season is a little short for some, but I think that I've got the varieties down, hybrids, whatnot, that are very good in a short season. So I think this year might be my best for the winter squash, I'm hoping. This bed, looking rather empty, was my garlic. Throughout the year I played around with succession plants of carrots in here. In fact, I've just recently, I think in my last video, pulled a whole stream of carrots from here. I haven't pulled those ones yet because they don't... You know what, as I'm speaking, something just popped in my head. I'm waiting for these to grow up as high as the ones I pulled, and they could be Parisian carrots. Oh no. Oh, but they're ready to be pulled. They're just shorter, so it's a different variety. I don't know what I put here. Lovely, but they're ready to come out. So that was a case of just interplanting. Why waste a whole garlic bed when I can interplant into it? I've also got a wee cucumber plant and a aubergine or a eggplant. I've put some succession plants in here. The mouse has eaten most of them. I've thrown more seeds, we'll see what comes up, but at this late in the year it's really only radishes, maybe some turnips, just a few varieties that may get somewhere for me. But that's pretty much done. This bed was another garlic bed. I obviously interplanted a few more things in this, which are, so it's making it look a little more lush, but this is now an empty bed really. But I did put a squash plant in there which is just taking off and has just set 4 squash for me pretty much overnight, which I'm really pleased with. That's the red curry, or Uchiki curry. Celery in here, a Swiss chard plant, rather random, just one, but great. Some more carrots, succession plants, and a few herbs. And that's that bed. It's going to soon go to rest. Okay, working our way on. I have 2 grow bags of zucchini that are certainly not doing as well as some of the other zucchini. There's a lot of nutrients were in those grow bags, so I'm not sure what is the factor there. Parsnips I have in this bed and in one of my in-ground beds. I'll probably pull one today, see how they're doing. I let them go normally to the end of the season, but if I need a parsnip, I certainly pick one. So I might pick one of those today. This again is a broccolini. They're still producing. This is even at the top. Just keeps on giving. Really pleased with those. I've pulled out the snow peas that were at the end here to give some light and room and space for some succession plants of carrots that are really small, but they're going to be, I think they've got still a month to go. Cucumbers. I actually have 2 cucumbers growing there, which is a first for me. Some badly eaten cabbage, lettuce bolting, some lettuce not bolting. There's new and succession plantings there, old and new. I have leeks in here again because I interplant. I have beans because it's something I really utilize a lot in the past few years, and I can't get enough. So those are coming on now, succession plants. Swiss chard, but again, a lot has come out of here. I've had cabbage, I've had a broccoli that I took out, a regular broccoli, pak choy. They've all come out. It's hard to imagine they were in there now because here's a rondinise that's been producing well, and Brussels sprouts. So they're all really spreading out and taking over, and it was time for the other plants to come out anyways. But that's just a way for me to intense plant and maximize the crops that I can get from these 11 beds. Strawberry bed, very giving again this year, but that's long over and all stored in the freezer from what we did not enjoy at the time. The rest is in the freezer. And a final bed of my raised beds, again the hodgepodge. I have 2 squash set on here, Burgess Buttercup, and the Burgess Buttercup there. I see squash has taken on those. More Brussels sprouts, more celery, more cabbage, more Swiss chard, more carrots succession, some carrots that I need to pull, they've been there for a while. These peas I'm going to take out today. And more broccolini, onions from seed, lettuce bolting. Actually, I don't have much more. Yeah, there's some newer lettuce I can still eat, but I'll have to take out this bolted, it won't be any good. And some kale. So that's my raised beds. We'll go on up now and look at the 2 in-ground beds. So let's look at the potato bed. Now the soil in here, to be quite honest, I told Bruce I'm not sure these potatoes are going to work that great in here. It is almost solely leaf mulch that we got free from the Leaf Depot. It has worked brilliantly for the potatoes and has, in fact, it's filled with worms, it's composting down beautifully, and the potatoes have been very happy here. We've been harvesting a lot of potatoes actually, and using a lot, eating a lot. So I have, I think, an abundance of potatoes this year, which is wonderful. It should get us through a whole year. Now, these plants I knew being in strictly carbon, the leaf mulch. These are more my brassicas, and well, I've later stuck some bean plants. I didn't expect too much, but I wanted to try to extend my growing space up here. So we are seeing some plants doing well. There you see right here is a globe artichoke. Obviously doesn't have any nutrients that it really wants. So expected. I've got enough of those anyway. Brussels sprouts, certainly smaller. But I'm going to get my nettle tea. And it's time for me now to boost all my garden beds, the squash and brassicas with nettle tea. I don't overuse at all any organic fertilizers because my beds have enough in the soil. But this time of year it's getting depleted, so I think that's what I'll do and get on to today also. So I've done some late sowings of peas just to get some extra. There's a squash under here that has set actually, but again doesn't have the nutrients. Definitely I'll put some nettle tea in there. It's a tiny, sweet, what is it called? Mama? Something like that. I am actually getting cauliflower. So I find that a bit bizarre. It's one of the brassicas that is looking really good. This zucchini plant, same soil, is thriving like the cauliflower in a heavy carbon soil. Next year I will of course top this with the manure and we will be building this bed but for a first year I think it's done really well, and the potatoes certainly have enjoyed it here. So lots of abundance up here and more to come. I've already gotten about 5 zucchini. There are 2 set right now, another one coming. So the plants that were happy, were happy. Very pleased with this bed. Now, this area here, this hodgepodge behind me, is a first-year herb and flower bed. Real hodgepodge that I threw in here and have enjoyed the blooms throughout. They've come and gone. I'm looking a little sad right now, but a great new space for me to play with again next year. First year for this bed, and I've really enjoyed it. My goodness. I've just noticed my first sunflower. Beautiful. So these should all be blooming, and they've withstood sort of the wind up here. Okay, we're going to go to the final bed, which was the first bed that I planted. My son helped me actually dig out a little spot. I think I started with onions and garlic, most important for my cooking. And it's looking pretty good. A little messy, but very abundant. Let's go look. Being an in-ground bed, my, without a doubt, largest challenge here is the encroaching grass, field, seeds. I have to find a better solution, or extend, or I might lay cardboard around here this year to try to at least get some barren land around it. But pre-season, I made sure this was all tidied up, and I haven't thought about it since. There are so many hoverflies and bees on this. That's why you should always let some plants go to flower. Hoverflies are great for getting those cabbage moths, caterpillars, which I have still in abundance here. I've lettuce going to seed. That was planted so early, but we did eat a lot. It was so much that couldn't get it all. I will get the plants that I can still see are edible here. More of the surprising broccolini that just keeps going. I'm so sold on this, I can't believe it. I've cut and cut. It's such a cut and come again wonderful vegetable, giving me so much lovely little broccoli heads that I'm sold on it. It's a keeper. I have some onions here. These are storage onions that haven't fallen over yet. Loving it up here. Loving it better here than they did in the bed that I really fully prepped. So I don't know why they work so well here. I have rutabaga and squash setting here, which is exciting again because it's not in great soil. This squash plant started here. There's almost no soil there. And I've got, well, I don't know what it is. I think it might be a turban squash, which will be thrilling for me, but it's a surprise yet. I have no idea what that squash is. And I have a sweet mama there. I have globe artichokes. This is two more. I've already pulled the mother off, and so these are two pups. So again, going to get a nice globe artichoke meal out of those. Rutabaga is doing slow, but it always does for me. But it's there, and we've had two from here, and that will of course be an autumn harvest. My broad beans have served me well as always. They grow without even having to think about it. They've been prolific. I have corn coming up. I'm hoping that one gets pollinated, so there again, maybe I'll get a few heads of corn. One of my pleasant surprises was this, I showed before, Hubbard squash. So excited to see that. Don't know how big it will get. I'm going to eat it regardless at whatever size, because you can't eat your squash any size. They just are more like a zucchini if you eat them before they ripen. So here there's everything. Onions, cilantro, broccolini, some more lettuce, succession. Squash that hasn't done anything yet. This has gone over, but it will self-seed, and I will get that coming up in as soon as the snow melts. My lamb's lettuce will come up from these self-seeding, and it's a great treat to see popping up from the snow. My beets have not done well. I used to grow and not think about growing beets. They're so easy, and I'm struggling for the past 2 years. That's okay, we have a farmer's market. Well, I will support the local farmer, get my bags of beets for my pickled beet preserving. Well, that was a full garden tour today. I think there's still some good eats to come out of the garden yet. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.